My first impressions of the Lenovo Legion Go, one, good and bad. And I'm making this video, even though this is not technically a tech channel, my content creator channel is actually more of the tech channel. I figured if this is a gaming handheld, I'm going to probably put the gaming related content on the gaming channel. So while this channel is more about, Skyrim, Pokemon, and State of Decay, I do want to talk about the devices I'll be using to play a lot of those games. Now, I had the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro over there, and I've made a video about that. And while this Lenovo video is not a review as of yet, I wanted to share some first impressions after using it for a little bit. Now, first and foremost, I really like it. I know that some people really, what is the word they used? They really gassed me up in some comments, and they also really flamed me in other comments. Because literally it was 50-50, super extreme. I traded my Xbox Series X for the Lenovo Legion Go, and people flamed me for it. I think it was a good idea because I never really played the Xbox, and I am realizing now when I was looking to the Xbox store and some of my library that there's a lot of games like Cyberpunk, for example, that I only bought on the Xbox, and it's not cross-platform, so I'll have to buy it again if I want to play it again. So there is that kind of issue, but I think down the line I'll get another Xbox, or the Xbox full screen experience will allow you to eventually play Xbox games. I think that one of those two outcomes will happen. So I'm not worried about that decision. But when I started using this device, there has been a few good things and bad things that I've noticed. And that were surprising to me. So that's why I thought this might be actually useful for you watching this video. And someone said my volume was low the other day, so I'm going to turn this up because I think for some reason sometimes it goes down. And so the first and foremost, the portrait issue. People talk about how the screen is portrait and it's rotated. That normally didn't bother me very much. It was annoying during the setup, fine. We're only doing that really once or twice, with updates and stuff like that. However, it does cause more screen tearing than you should be having issues with. And I did notice that a couple games. It was not something if you just change the settings, generally that will kind of go away. But the screen tearing thing that they mentioned, I kind of blew it off and I didn't notice it. I actually did have some issues too where the screen started turning I have these pink lines, glitchy lines, and I don't know if that's because I was messing around with Xbox full screen experience and trying to put it in, or if it was the game itself. So I'm not too worried about that, but that was kind of concerning. And then I also had issues with, there was something issue with the screen. What was it? Oh yeah, resolution. So when you're in some games, if you change the resolutions, because it's a portrait screen and it's rotated, it actually messes with the actual compatibility with certain resolutions. So let's say you have 800p or 1200p and then 1600p. And 1600 is great. It looks great, but it runs poorly, right, on that certain game, and it just can't handle 1600p at that game. But it's still powerful enough to do 1200p. But you want to go down to it, it just glitches out. Octopath Traveler 2, for example, had a hell when I first started opening it up. I could not get the game to actually show screen, and actually I had a lot of issues with State of Decay 2 as well, where changing resolution either made it squished like this in State of Decay, or in Octopath it zoomed in all the way so you only saw 1/4 of the screen. And so I literally couldn't change the setting back because I couldn't see what I had to go on some tutorial video just so I could see what the menu was like, so I knew what key to press confirm to change it back. And so some games have incompatibility with certain resolutions. And then when you go down to 800p, it might be compatible because it's the aspect ratio of your screen, but then it's too low resolution. If you try to go to 1200 or even go back to 1600, sometimes that can mess up a little bit. And that's very frustrating, and you have to kind of play around a whole bunch of different games with a whole bunch of different resolutions just to see what works. And so that could be an issue. And so now, some things I would say that are good impressions is that I really don't have an issue with the ergonomics. Yes, it can get a little heavy sometimes, but I do often just put it down with the nice kickstand. It has the best kickstand on the market. It actually has the best screen on the market, even technically better than the Lenovo Legion Go 2, even though that's OLED. It looks a little bit darker. This has a high resolution display and more pixels per inch. So it's still actually the best display on the market for these handhelds. And I gotta say, the detachable controllers has been phenomenal. I was kind of it's a gimmick at first, and even when I first saw the Lenovo Legion Go and some of the other products on the market, I thought they would look it looked too big, it looked bulky, it looked ugly, and I think that's back when CES happened. So you could see all these controllers lined up, all these handhelds lined up, and you see you have the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, and they're nice and small and compact. And mind you, I'm used to the Retroid Pocket, which is tiny, and so I felt this was going to be too big. And it's really not. It just fits in the hand so greatly. I don't even have big hands, but this is nice. And it doesn't actually weigh that much. I could lift it with 2 fingers without any issues. And I mean, if you work out, that's obviously going to be a difference. But even if you don't work out, I don't think it's going to be an issue for you. The weight, the size, even the ergonomics. Yes, I will say the little 90-degree angles on the controller were pretty stupid. I think that's a bad design. And they fixed it in the next generation. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize this, and I've seen some videos about it, but in case you haven't seen those, you can actually take the controllers from the Lenovo Legion Go 2 and put them on the original Legion Go. And so you can have the upgraded controllers, which is honestly the only really good upgrade they did with the second generation device, maybe the CPU. But I don't really think the 15 to 20% boost that you'll get from the new device is really worth paying double, basically. This device, essentially, I think roughly is around $750 new. Most of the time people got it used or on sale for like $500. I think mine was roughly $450, $500 plus a dock. The dock was bricked when I got it, so that sucked. But it was roughly like a $600 something value that I had traded my Xbox for. A week after, I saw someone else on Marketplace post this for $450. Like, that is pretty cheap for a device of this caliber, and it's only ever so slightly more expensive than a Steam Deck, but it's like significantly more powerful, and it's a much better device, in my opinion, than what a Steam Deck would be. I like having detachable controllers. I like being able to use this as a productivity machine. I could easily see myself using this as my daily driving computer, because I love mini PCs. I don't want to have a big bulky PC. And the fact that I could use this as a live streaming thing at a I might go to CES next month. I could take this with me and use it for live streaming if I wanted to, or for recording a podcast or whatever. And it has two nice USB-C 4 ports, so if I plug in a dock, I don't have to worry about bandwidth. I have a nice SSD that's USB-C. I can plug that in for storage. So the fact that I could just sit there and plug things in, it makes things really great. I want to pull this out real quick. So I wanted a way to prop up a Lenovo Legion Go without using the back plate that it has. It's a great stand that it comes with, but you can't access the bottom USB-C port, and I would much rather have a port on the top and bottom for convenience sake, even though in certain cases, like I'm about to explain, it's actually kind of worse because you don't have a way to plug in like another adapter or an SD card or a flash drive in the bottom USB-C dock. Well, I had this lying around. I've had my 3DS for 15 years, 13 years, whatever it is, and this is the 3DS dock that you can put it in. And it has a little bit of rubber on here, but very tiny. There's like two little pieces here. I'm telling you, this is perfect for the Lenovo Legion Go. Not only does it fold down flat, but it holds it in place really well, and it puts it right at the right angle to be able to plug in things in both USB-C ports, and it still doesn't block the airflow on the back vents, which most docks would do. And even like something like this, where is it? I don't know, it's on the other computer. I have like a little laptop thing or tablet stand, and that blocks some of the vents. I can't use that. And so there's a lot of really cool small things that people just wouldn't think about. And I'm telling you, whenever it comes to taking off the controllers, I mean, yes, it can be a little bit annoying, but you do get used to it. People kept complaining like, oh, they don't know how to do it. Well, guess what? You just go down, unlike the Switch where you go up. This is a tiny little mini PC. That is convenient. Don't just think about it as like a handheld. Think about it as a PC. And I think that would make your opinion on it a lot better, especially since it actually has aged pretty well. It's like 2 years old, and I didn't even realize that when I got it. So that is my first impressions, good and bad, of the Lenovo Legion Go 1. And I think that, I'm not going to probably use the FPS mode. It's good that they have a mouse built into it, especially since, another issue I've come across is that when I get to the login screen to put in my PIN, the keyboard just doesn't show up half the time. Don't know why. And when I installed the full screen experience, it was great, and it needs that. I think it would make a huge difference for anybody using this handheld. But I had to use that sketchy third-party software, so I tried to uninstall it, which caused more glitches. And then when I realized that I needed to have that software on my computer in order to make the full screen experience work, I thought it was just going to check something off in the registry editor and call it a day. No, you have to have that sketchy software permanently installed. I'm not doing that. And not the Vive tool, but the other method to install it. So I took it off, and then when I tried to install it back, it wouldn't work. So I'm like, now I'm kind of out of luck. Oh well. But I did get to log in during that process with the FSE, and I think that it allowed me to use my controller for input for the PIN code. That's great, especially since the keyboard doesn't freaking come up half the time when it comes to having a virtual keyboard. So I had to plug in my normal keyboard, something like that, every once in a while just to be able to log in. That's annoying. But besides small little details like that, which if you already have a keyboard right here anyways, who cares? So that's it. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions.